Hey guys, this is a debate between First Amender and I. The topic was trans women belong in women's sports. There were a lot of internet issues, and it was frustrating, and didn't like the way my opponent was handling himself sometimes. Thought he could be disingenuous, but here it is. I'm not proud of the way I acted. Part of that is because I have so much passion concerning this topic. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been devoting so much of my life to it for the past year and a half. So there it is, though. I still think I won on facts alone. If you hear anything, that's my bad boy puppy in the background tearing paper up. So anyway, there it is. Like I said, I'm not happy with my performance. Hope to do better in the future. Try to control my emotions. It's part of the reason I do this, and at least online and in public. Most people think I never lose my temper, but anyway. So please like, subscribe, share, comment. Let me know who you think won, who did better in what area. We have to just support each other because as far as the media goes, we're fighting a losing battle. And who knows where politics will go in the next 2 years. So thank you for watching. Take care.
Welcome, everyone. We're going to be having an amazing debate today between First Amender and Uncarved Block. And we're debating, do trans women belong in women's sports? Amender will be taking the affirmative, Uncarved Block will be taking the negative. And we can just start right away if that's cool with both of you. Or do you want to? Why don't we do this? We'll do a little bit of an intro. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves, where we can find you? Put it in the chat. We can start with First Amender and then go to Uncarved Block.
Hey everybody, my name is First Amender. I do a YouTube channel where I argue in favor of pro-LGBTQ positions as well as other progressive talking points. And I have consistent debates with people every Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I have an open call-in show where anybody can call in and have a discussion. If you guys like strong arguments and contentious debates, then I'm your guy. And you like to hear it from a progressive lens, I'm here for you. You can subscribe to me on YouTube, youtube.com/@FirstAmender. I'm also multi-streaming on Facebook and Twitch.
All righty, my name is Logan. I am not religious criticism channel, but once the concerns of women were brought to my attention, it eventually developed into a critique of trans ideology. You can find me at the Uncarved Block 6565.
Okay, that's awesome. And one thing too is put your information. We want to make sure that folks can find you. And we will start now. I'll put my timer on. There we go. And we are going to start. Let me know when you're ready.
Give me one quick second. Okay. Yep, I'm ready.
Cool.
Do I start? You want me to start?
You start.
Okay. So this is the debate. Trans women should be included in women's sports, and I am the affirmative saying yes. And you can follow me on YouTube, youtube.com/@FirstAmender. Before I get into my argument, I want to address something that became very apparent during our preparation for the debate. My opponent spent a remarkable amount of time objecting to the very premise of the title, insisting that trans women should instead be described as trans-identifying males. This was not some disagreement over a technical definition relevant to athletic performance. He explicitly stated out of the debate itself that they are not women, they are men. I find this relevant because it raises an obvious question about whether we're actually going to debate the proposition before us. I am perfectly willing to have a substantive disagreement over the science, the fairness, and philosophy of women's sports. What I'm less interested in doing is spending the debate establishing whether people we're discussing are allowed to be called women in the first place. So I'm going to give my opponent the benefit of the doubt. For the purposes of this debate, let's put the terminology fight aside and discuss the actual proposition. Should trans women be included in women's sports? Now, here's my argument. The argument is simple. If you are to take the time to think about it, an otherwise intuitive thing is flipped on its face. Why do we separate men and women from sports? This is simple. It is because the advantage men have over women. Do trans women have physical advantage over biological women? Yes. Even if I include 2 years of hormone replacement therapy, there do exist bone density advantages as well as muscle mass. I am willing to acknowledge the scientific findings. However, excess testosterone and androgen exposure also exists among biological women and can provide a performative advantage relative to other women. So, do we exclude cisgendered women from women's sports when they possess an unusually large physiological advantage over other women? If yes, and you do choose to exclude them, why should we stop at hormones? Why not exclude those who are taller, have bigger hands, longer legs, etc.? If it is no, and do not exclude, then why do we exclude trans women from women's sports? I operate on a principle of an inclusionary society. If exclusion is necessary, there should be a good reason for it. I therefore cannot see a consistent principle for excluding trans women while permitting cisgendered women with naturally occurring androgen-related advantages to compete. So I ask, why exclude trans women from women's sports? In summary, and assuming in good faith here, if the relevant principle is that women should not compete against other women when they possess unusually large physiological advantages associated with androgen exposure, then that principle must also explain why naturally occurring androgen exposure in cisgendered women does not justify the same exclusion. If that distinction cannot be justified, then what exactly is this principle that makes excluding trans women from women's sports necessary? And with that, I cede the rest of my time.
Wow, you had more than a minute left. That's perfect. I will put another timer, and would you prefer to be called Logan or Uncarved Block? What would you prefer to be called as? Oh, you're muted.
I muted myself because I was eating. Normally I hate seeing people eat on camera, but I have some medication to take and I have to take it with food.
No problem. Is Logan good, or would you prefer Uncarved Block? What do you prefer to be called?
Logan's fine.
Logan, perfect. Do you have a presentation too?
Yes, I do.
Okay, just present it and then I'll add it to the stage. Okay, got it. All right, just let me know when you're ready to roll.
I'm ready.
Cool.
Much thanks to First Amender for offering this debate and Issa for moderating. We are here to address the topic, trans women belong in women's sports. To define terms, for me, trans women, which is always in quotation marks when I use it, means trans-identified males who think they are women. Going forward, I will say Tims to be clear that I am in no way granting trans women are women. This is because women, for me, always refers to the female sex of the human species. This qualification is easily verified with observation in most of humanity and can 100% be verified with a cheek swab. My opponent, however, faces an uphill battle presenting an objectively verifiable qualification of what makes a person a woman. I think that ends the debate right there. However, to go further, there are some physical differences between men and women. Tims are dominating women's events and the safety and dignity of women. I would ask why trans women belong in women's sports. They have a division of sports readily available to them, and that is, of course, men's sports. There is nothing restricting them from participating in the men's categories. I think there are two reasons these males want to be in female sports. One, validation of their identity. They think they are women and therefore belong in female sports. Two, they are usually poor in skills needed to excel in male sports. As to the first, it's easily dismissed. We play sports with our bodies, not our identities. For the second, this is demonstrated by the fact that Leah Thomas was lagging behind other men, but when he moved to the female category, he suddenly jumped to the top of the rankings. As you can see, Thomas falls behind men's benchmarks, but matches the women, sometimes beating them. HRT for a couple of years, then it's okay for him to compete with the women. I would argue once Thomas realized he was losing because of it, he decided to move to the women's team for self-validation. Thomas was ranked 462 when he departed the men's league, but became number 1 in the 500 yard after moving. Thomas made a personal choice, and it's not his right to infringe on the rights of women. The difference between men and women are obvious when tested by science, and not all of them are necessarily overcome by HRT. Men typically have a stronger grip. Women have less body power and propulsion. Men typically or always have larger hearts, larger lungs, lower body fat, explosive power, and are taller. Because of a wider pelvis, women are 5 to 6 times more susceptible to knee injuries. Males have stronger muscles and bones. Studies have established that HRT doesn't significantly reduce male advantage. And of course, males have more testosterone. My opponent may argue that there are very few Tims in female sports. I don't care if it's one, he doesn't belong there. But the examples span across multiple sports. In track and field, Andrea Yearwood won first place in the 100 and 200 meter dashes. Sadie Schreiner became a 2-time All-American and champion in other events. CC Telfer won the NCAA Division II 400 meter hurdle championships. And A.B. Hernandez beat the second place runner by 8 feet. In other disciplines, in the women's 35 to 44 age bracket for cycling, Lily Serrano captured 2 podium finishes. And in weightlifting, Jamie Booker, an impressive 6'6" male, won the championship, where his second-place opponent, Andrea Thompson, only stood 5'5". Beyond individual events, these are at least 7 Tims on the female hockey team in Minnesota alone. And these are just the tip of the iceberg. Across the country, over 1,941 gold medals have been taken from women and girls in the U.S., with over 10,000 males competing against women overall. Baseline athletic gaps are demonstrated by boys' teams defeating women's. Trans rights activist Megan Rapinoe and her team were crushed by a boys' soccer team 5-2. Switzerland's soccer team was defeated 7-1 by boys under 15 of age. I doubt these results will be the same with professional men's teams versus girls. Taking the facts and event results out of the equation, there's also the matter of safety and dignity. Peyton McNabb was seriously injured by a male in a volleyball game. Callie Keeler was sexually assaulted by a boy during a wrestling match. Many women expressed their discomfort seeing Leah Thomas walk around with his penis in the locker room. At least one was a traumatized SA survivor. Paula Scanlon was told to suck it up. This number is likely higher as 1 in 3 women. Okay. Trans women are men and therefore do not belong in women's sports. Thank you.
All right. Thank you both for those openings. And now we are going to Logan, you are going to do the first rebuttal. I'm going to put that banner up for that. And you have 5 minutes to rebut First Amender's opening.
Well, there wasn't much that First Amender presented. He even ceded a minute of his time. He wasted a lot of his time on the intro about our discussion behind the scenes. If that was going to be shared, I would have shared some things as well. I actually wrote my intro and turned it into ChatGPT for evaluation. It told me to get rid of that because it's a shallow way of approaching a debate. Is there a good reason? Because women don't want them in there. That's good enough for me. A woman's no is good enough to tell men not to be in their sports. I don't know why First Amender requires anything else. Does he not support a woman's no? He also showed 3 people. One was Amain Khalef. For me, the jury's out. A lot of people state that Amen Khalif is a man, and it's been proven. I don't think it's been proven. I don't think the documents are sourced well, but it's possible that Amen Khalif is a man. I do know, however, that Castor Semenya is a man. It doesn't matter that he has a vagina. Castor Semenya is a man. So for First Amender to sit there and go, well, this is a woman, again, what qualifies a woman? First Amender has no evaluation other than self-ID. If he has another qualification that's objective and measurable, he can let me know. Otherwise, he loses the debate because he doesn't have a qualification even for what a woman is.
Okay, is that good, or do you want to keep going? You still have about 3 minutes.
As I said, well, I will finish reading my opening because First Amender did not present. So I just want to say that the number of SA survivors is 1 in 3. So I don't know why First Amender wants to subject those women to men being in their locker room, seeing them naked. Trans women are men and therefore do not belong in women's sports. In closing, I would like to express my gratitude to my strong and beautiful sisters, Inez Cantor Freedom and Royce White. Thank you.
Okay. Is that it?
Yep.
Okay. So I will hand it over to Amender. Ready?
All right. Right away, I think I already detect what the problem is in for the rebuttal. He's stating already women for me only means in terms of sex of the human species. So then my question becomes, does he make a distinction for gender? He said that trans women dominate women's events. That's actually not true. That's something that has been peddled by right-wing anti-trans establishment. The reality is that trans women do not consistently dominate in women's sports. The quote-unquote trans, he gave some reasons as to why trans women would like to be in the women's sports. The first one is actually the reason, which congratulations to Uncarved for doing that. Saying trans women want to be included. I agree. I think people in general want to be included in society. That part's true. But then he goes off to then say that the reason why that they are going into women's sports is because that they are poor in skills and need to be in women's sports. I promise you that is not the reason. If you talk to any trans woman who has engaged in sports, that it has absolutely nothing to do with that. They simply want to exist. In fact, most women just kind of abandon the whole thing altogether because of people like my opponent. This is argued against given the insane amount of social issues that occur by coming out as trans. You lose your family, you lose your friends, you can lose your job. There is no guarantee. And so the idea that the reason why is because they want to, I don't know, get a medal is completely ridiculous. He said something along the lines of women have less body power. I'm not exactly sure what that means. That's not even a measurement. If he can, maybe if he's talking about physical strength or, lifting capacity, I don't know, maybe we have to figure what he then listed a bunch of winners in trans women in women's sports. This is completely irrelevant. Even if I assume trans women dominate in women's sports, and they don't, this doesn't actually address the fact that there are cisgendered women with androgen differences. He is also saying that a woman's no is good enough. I think I'm going to hold him to that. I'm actually kind of curious as to who he voted for, if he believes that a woman's no is good enough. And then finally, he said that Castor Semenya is a man. If he operates in his binary worldview, Castor Semenya has a vagina. If you believe, I guess my question becomes, do you believe that men can have vaginas? And then I cede the rest of my time.
Okay.
All right. So what we're doing now is we're going to be going into our 1 hour rebuttal. So basically, you're going to be having a conversation with each other. And if anything kind of is problematic, I'll step in. Okay? We want to make sure that we're respectful, we're understanding, pretty much that's what we want to do. I am going to put the timer on. 1 sec. All right. And we can start now.
Wait, this is a back and forth. It's not a rebuttal.
Oh, it's a back and forth. Yes,
Correct.
that's
Okay.
we had put that in the thing, but I'll put it there as I will edit that.
Okay, back and forth. Begin. Sorry, I'm just writing down my notes. Okay, so I guess my question is, do you make a distinction for gender being separate from sex?
Not in this case, no. And well, yes, I do because
No.
yes,
I'm not
yes.
asking in this
Shut
case.
up! I'm answering. Okay,
All
thank
right,
you.
let's be respectful.
Well, I just want to answer. He's going to interrupt my answer. No, it's not
If
going to
you're
happen.
not answering my question, is the issue.
Oh,
So-
well, this
so
is not crossfire.
Do you make a
Well, the thing is, you can ask Claire. You're having a back and forth. So he's asking you a question. You can ask him a question too. So it's not like he's just going to ask you a bunch of questions. You're going to work with each other. You know, you
Okay.
can ask a question. He can
Well,
ask a question.
Please don't interrupt me because this is not crossfire. Where you control the conversation. Gender is masculine and feminine. It is not male and female or man and woman.
Okay, so you do make a distinction between gender and sex.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So when you're saying that women for you means only sex in the human species, that's actually not correct, even by your lights.
Yes, it is.
You're saying it is correct.
Yes.
Okay, how so? Women is a gender distinction.
No, women is a sex category of in the human species.
Female is a sex category.
No. Oh, so cows are women.
Can cows be females? We're talking about a sex distinction.
Yes, cows are females. So you just said
Okay.
females are a sex distinction. So therefore, cows are women.
I don't see how that follows or how that has any relevance.
Okay.
We're talking about the human. We're talking
What-
about human
what is
sexuality here and gender distinctions.
So my internet must suck because you just froze on me. What'd you say?
Yeah, your internet does suck. Maybe you got that trans gigabit connection. But
I've been working on it. I put in a new whatever that cable's called for plugging into your modem, and it didn't fix it. So I got to look at something else. Sorry. So what was your question?
So okay, all right. I just let me see if I can get like straight into my argument. I'm aware that there exists an advantage of trans women in women's sports.
Well, we haven't figured out what a woman is yet.
Do we have to talk about that on what a woman is?
You disagree that woman is the name for a female human.
Yes, and because there is a gender distinction.
When did that happen?
I think like the concept of gender being challenged happened around, I think, as early as the 1930s, but we had done hormonal distinctions back then where we removed gonads from roosters and they exhibited hen-like characteristics. And even before that, there did exist
so those are birds.
transgender women burials, for example, where we have traditionally male category skeletons that were found to be buried in a female way and in specifically female burials. So we know that trans women had existed. It's not really simply
an insult. Could that be
no,
an
it's
insult?
no, it's not. It was they were given because it's an honorable burial.
Huh. How do you know those people actually identified as women?
Yes. So there was this, if I can bring it up, but it was specifically the way that they were buried and what they were buried with.
That's
it was not typical that a male skeleton would be a male corpse was placed in the way that they were. They were placed specifically with I believe it was facing towards the east, which was traditional for women to be.
I don't need details.
Towards the east. So we know that they were trans.
That's anachronistic. You're applying modern terms to the past.
I'm saying that there's clear distinctions. This is where like I come into where being trans and transness and gender being separate from sex, it's actually a discovery. It's a human discovery on sexuality in the
I
same
don't
way
think so.
it is.
It's not a social
It is.
construct.
It is socially constructed. Yes.
Okay, so it wasn't discovered; it was created.
No.
Yes,
It
yes,
would.
yes. Yes,
It's
social
understanding
constructs
human
are created by.
sexuality. It's understanding human sexuality can be discovered, right? Understanding that it doesn't always have to hook in with what your genitals are means that there is a severance of gender and sex. And you yourself have acknowledged this. I don't know why we're fighting this.
Because a woman is a sex category and masculine and feminine are gender categories. So I did not agree to anything.
Okay, so you're just having an issue with the specific words that I am using. When I'm saying woman, you think that it is a sex characteristic when it is clearly a gender characteristic for anybody else.
No, it's not. No, it's not for anybody else. Sorry. Why are you saying that? You know it's not. You know it's not.
It is.
First, you know it's not. No, it's not.
I do know it is.
No, it's only
if I
people
pull
like
up
you.
any academic journal, when they're referring to trans women, they're referring to women in terms of gender.
Oh yeah,
and gender is predicated on an internal sense of the self being female.
So what is a woman?
That's
I just want to know what a woman is. What is a woman? Tell me.
Are you asking through gender or sex?
Both.
Okay, through sex, it would be XX chromosomes, 18 years or older. That usually results in primary sex characteristics such as a vagina, which then results in fat placement, typically more around the hips and on the chest than on the belly. That's typical. And then for a woman in terms of gender, again, 18 years old, with the predication of the internal sense of the self being characterized female.
Who made that up?
Nobody made that up. It's a discovery.
No, you made it up.
It's literally thousands of years old.
Oh, no, it's not. But
it is.
No, we're not going to argue that. That's not the debate.
It is.
No, it's sports.
But regardless of the fact, I want to get to the trans women and women's sports. Now that I have accurately defined what a woman is and that we're done with
no. You have not accurately defined what a woman is.
I literally just defined it for you, both in terms of sex as well as gender, pretty clearly.
It's not a sex category. So it can be men and women. So you have no distinction.
Wait. Just about 5 minutes ago, you just said that women is a sex category. Now it's not a sex category. It's a gendered category. Holy crap. What is this internet?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what the issue is. It wasn't this bad with Max.
So just about 5 minutes ago, you said that women is a sex category, not a gendered category. And then when I tried to appeal to you, saying that it is a sex category, you then said, no, it's not a sex category.
No, so my God, you don't listen. You don't understand.
No, your internet sucks. No. I do listen. Okay. I'm writing down what you're saying.
Well, if you shut up, we need to get the good parts in.
Let's get the good parts in.
So shut up.
I'm in. All right,
here we go.
Go ahead.
I'm responding to you. You were saying that woman is both a sex category and a gender category. Therefore, we can have men and women all crossing the borders, and you have no objective way of determining which one is which, because one is just an identity. You can't confirm that.
I do. I'm saying the category that you're requesting, which I accurately defined through sex. Okay. I then said also this definition. The definition over here doesn't negate the original definition.
So
it's also this. Words can have multiple meanings. I
knew you would pull this shit. That's why I wanted the title to.
What did I pull?
Okay, trans women are men, correct?
Understanding that when I'm sitting there applying a very clear understanding of sex and gender, you want to assure that sex and gender are the same thing.
My question.
When the reality is, you've already conceded that sex and gender are different things.
This is why I like Crossfire, because he can't dodge during Crossfire. Issa, I would like you to step in. I want him to answer my question.
What was your question?
Trans women are men, correct?
By sex?
Yes.
Or gender?
Sex.
So certain characteristics in sex change,
answer the fucking question. Yes or no? It's a simple yes or no question.
It's not a simple yes or no, right? If you're talking about secondary sex characteristics and the person's taking HRT, they indeed do change.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. What was it?
If you're talking about secondary sex characteristics and you are
No.
taking HRT, indeed they
No.
do change.
No, they don't. What happened
What?
to? No, they don't.
Where did you get that?
It's from medical persons. It suppresses.
From medical persons?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so just out of
Would
curiosity,
you let
right?
me fucking talk?
When I
you
can
little
pull
shit?
up an endocrinological guide on secondary sex characteristics physically changing among men and women, that you're going to say that that is all incorrect? All right, hopefully this will be better. So I don't even think that, like, me having to delineate what is a woman when I clearly already delineated that. I said what it was both in sex as well as in gender. None of those actually negate the other. They're inclusionary. And so I guess like what I want to do is get into the actual topic of the debate, the meat and potatoes of the debate. My argument is that the reason why we do separate men and women from sports is because men have a performative advantage. Okay, great. I can acknowledge that. However, there do exist cisgendered women with very similar advantages. There are women who have androgen differences, which enable them to have a greater performative advantage. And in my opinion, I wouldn't want to exclude women that are just naturally better at a sport simply because they have more androgens. Would you ban women that have a higher levels of androgen from women's sports?
Dude, you're not going to control the conversation. You control the conversation for 35 minutes. When I start speaking, please let me speak because you're bloviating. Okay.
That was a specific, I gave you my exact argument. And then my response to you is I'm asking you a question.
Okay.
Which is, should women that have higher androgen levels be able to compete with other women?
You're not letting me respond to anything. You keep interrupting every time I try to answer. The way I want to instead of the way you want to.
Are you going to answer?
Well, I'm not answering that question. I'm still trying to get to Caster Semenya.
Can I ask
it's not just Caster Semenya, just so you're aware, right?
Do what?
Can I ask you both a question? So what would you say, like, because I think it's important in your conversation to have like common ground. What would you say is there a kind of a common definition of what you both would define as a woman, or is that just an impasse right here?
I think we're at an impasse with it because I'm willing to acknowledge both gender and sex in terms of woman. Typically, women is used in a gendered category, but I'm even willing to understand that, hey, women is used colloquially and sometimes between both gender and sex. And there's a lot of relation between gender and sex of considering that over 99% of people, their sex does match their gender. So obviously there is a relation there, but that doesn't mean it can't be severed. It certainly can. But I mean, again, I'm curious about what he would do about women with excess androgen exposures, or better yet, why don't we ask, why do we separate men from women's sports?
Caster Semenya has 46XY. She has 5 ARD, or I'm saying she because, you know, I'm reading stuff. All right. 5 ARD is a 46 SRY plus. Caster Semenya is a man.
Okay, so do you believe that men can have vaginas?
Yes, women can have vaginas. Did you not know that? I thought you were scientific.
I thought Caster Semenya was a man.
Caster Semenya is a man and
has a vagina.
Yes.
So can men have vaginas?
Wait, no. Wait a minute, buddy. You defined women as XY.
I'm using your colloquial understanding.
No, you're not. Caster Semenya.
Yes, I am. Can men have vaginas?
Yes. Did you not know that? Oh, so you define women by vaginas. So all these trans women that have penises are not women, correct?
I'm just so like you have got yourself into a logical loop here that doesn't actually make any sense.
Oh, no, you're a moron. You have no logical loop.
I've provided my argument and understanding that there
I
is both
provided
a
my
gender
argument, and
distinction
you've
as well
rebutted
as a sex.
nothing. You've
I
rebutted
did.
nothing.
I actually did. Maybe you just didn't understand. So what I'm saying earlier, I said specifically, there are. Why do we separate men from women's sports?
Okay, no. We need to get back to Caster Semenya because you presented a falsehood, and you've got your own logical contradiction. Sorry, you do not control the conversation. I paused when I saw you pause. So here it is. Caster Semenya has 5 art. Own definition of sex. Caster Semenya is a man.
Why do we separate men from women's sports?
Do you mind if I ask a quick question? Logan, we heard what Amender's position on what a woman is. What is your position? Like, so we can have clarity, because you mentioned 5R. Could you explain what you would say a woman is?
Sure. A woman is a member of the female sex of the human species. And a female is, and we're talking about mammals because First Amender wants to go to birds for some reason, which aren't mammals. We are mammals. Don't go to birds. A female would be a person whose reproductive role, actual, potential, historical, broken, is in the production of ova. To Emma Hilton.
Okay, well, we're going to have to ask you to repeat yourself literally every single time. You're breaking up.
And if you have any issues, put it in the private chat, and I can read it for you too if there's a difficulty.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here.
Did you get the female part?
Yeah. I mean, you said that female woman is female sex of the human species. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can a 6-year-old be a woman?
Yes. Well, okay. Not a woman, you moron. You're trying to throw me off, okay? Oh, he's such an idiot. He said, this guy's an idiot. Okay. A child, a girl will be a woman, First Amender. Did you hear my definition of female, you little goober?
I'm listening.
Okay, a female, I'm watching for you guys to freeze, is a person whose reproductive role, actual, potential, historical, broken, is in the production of ova.
Okay.
Did you understand any of that?
I did. So is a 16-year-old a woman?
Okay.
Sorry, again, is a 16-year-old a woman?
Biologically, yes.
All right. Well, I would probably say no. No,
Why?
they're not. They're a little girl, right? They're not like an experienced human being. I would probably say 18 years old would probably be appropriate.
That's social. That's legal.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. But I wouldn't call them a woman. I would call them a girl. They're just a girl. 16-year-old, I wouldn't refer to as a woman. Anyway, beside that point, I wanted to get into the excess androgens among women specifically, and that they engage in sports and they do really well. Is he there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. He's just, okay, cool.
You mentioned the excess androgens.
Yeah. So there are women that have excess androgens. They have a great level of performative advantage. Do you think that they should be able to compete?
Are they women?
I'm not exactly sure your exact distinction.
I just told you.
As in produces large gametes and is female sex of the human species. So you're just referring to women only in terms of sex?
Oh my God. Only in terms of what?
Sex.
If you see me freeze, stop talking.
Yeah, but it's impossible to have an argument.
Just don't obsess about the freezing, okay? Only in terms of
sex.
Yes. Because women want them by themselves. I'm doing this so you'll see me free.
Because women want to be by themselves?
Yeah.
So if I could
Otherwise,
show that women, that's not why we separate men from women's sports.
why didn't they just play in the men's team if they just want to play ball?
I said, if I could prove to you that that wasn't the case, then would you be willing to say that the reason why we separate men from women's sports is likely another reason?
Sure, it could be another reason. Sure.
Do you think that it could be because of a performative advantage men have over women?
It could be.
Do you think it is?
Oh, I don't know. I just know a lot of women don't want men in their sports. And that's enough for me.
Let me ask you this.
No, I'm tired of this. Okay, first, it's always you asking the questions. I'm done.
You can ask me all the questions you want.
Yeah,
you asked
yeah,
me what a woman was. I answered it. You've asked me all sorts
I got
of questions.
15
I've
minutes
answered it.
left, and you have controlled this entire conversation.
Okay, go for
Good.
it.
Thank you. All right. So you endorse both males and shut up. Oh my gosh. You endorse both males and females in women's sports, correct?
Both males and females in women's sports. Yes, if their gender is woman. And
How do
they
you
have
verify? How do you verify that?
I don't have an exact delineation, but the way that I would do it is I would establish a performativity, specifically using the Judith Butler understanding of performativity. You can't just simply be like a burling, huge guy that says, guys, I identify as a woman, let me into the women's division. I would say no to that because they don't actually establish the performativity of woman. They don't have they're not making active steps to be woman. So under that basis, now if you asked what are the exact pieces in order to be like, okay, this is enough performativity versus this is not enough, I honestly don't have an answer for you there. I have to spend more time thinking about it.
So you wouldn't include all trans women in sports?
I think you have to match the performativity. And I think one of them is that you should have at least 2 years of HRT. But women that have excess androgen exposure would not need to possess their performativity. Whatever body they're happy with would be good with me.
You've got your own logical circularity there. So what does it take to be a trans woman?
I think you have to have the performativity of, or make an active attempt to be externally perceived that way. But if you're talking about only internally, then you would just have to have an internal feeling of female. You would have to have an internal feeling of female.
How do you know?
How do you know? Yeah, I know. How do you know somebody has an internal feeling of female?
You don't. You have to ask them.
Oh, so it's subjective.
Yeah, I mean, like PTSD or any mental situation going on. I'm not attributing being trans to a mental disorder. It's certainly not. Gender dysphoria is the mental disorder. But yeah,
it is a mental disorder.
You're asking, like, if you asked somebody, if somebody has a headache, I'm probably going to take my word for them. If they say, yeah, I have a headache, we don't have a way to detect. You just ask them. We don't have a way to detect.
Okay. So you have no way to detect, but I do.
Okay. What do you do to detect? Usually by looking at them. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's external gender identity. Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with you.
Did you hear my other comment?
No, I didn't. I heard,
okay,
you look at them and that was it.
Cheek swab.
A cheek swab?
Yes.
So you just determine if they have XX or XY chromosomes, and then that determines whether or not that they go into
99% of cases. Yes.
You got to repeat yourself the whole thing because you're breaking up.
That's all I said was in 99% of cases. Yes.
In 99%. Okay. But what about the 1%?
So under your regulations, some trans women would be excluded, correct?
Under my condition, You would have to require some level of performativity. So yes, some trans women would. I think that there does need to be a line, because we do have a separation
Okay,
between men and women.
I don't need to hear the bloviation. You've already said all that.
It wasn't
You've lost the debate.
bloviating. I
Yes,
was
you've lost the debate because
explaining my point.
you're just repeating what you've already said.
I didn't. I
Yes, you
wasn't.
did.
But,
Yes, you are. I've heard everything you just said. Everything you just said, I just heard a few minutes ago. So you have lost the debate first, because the prompt is trans women, do they belong in sports? Not some trans women. It's trans women. Means all.
I mean, under that basis, at least if I include even one trans woman in women's sports, then that would mean that trans women belong in women's sports,
No, it
despite the
doesn't.
fact that I would be willing to operate in good faith and exclude some.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. You have lost the debate first, because you are drawing a line.
Okay.
between
That doesn't logically follow at all.
Yes,
but
it does.
Okay. And also, this isn't really like a point. Like, I honestly would like to learn from you a bit here, and understand, I guess, your perspective. You make a distinction between sex and gender when it appears to be convenient for you, but then you just actively ignore it when we bring up sex and gender regarding sports.
Never accepted this was a gender debate. I accepted this was a sex debate, because sports are separated by sex, not gender.
Okay, so if, let's say, for example, that you have a woman that cannot synthesize testosterone properly, and so they would be XY chromosomes. So if you did a cheek swab, they would be male. But it turns out that there have been instances where they would have XY, but then be able to birth a child. This has actually been recently discovered, that there have been women that are XY, but do not synthesize testosterone, but they have a functioning uterus. And if you looked at them, they would have breasts, hips, they have kids. They're none the wiser.
And what's that called?
It is, I don't exactly have the exact condition on hand, but I can see if I can look it up for you.
Not right now, no. They are all categorized as male and female. All DSDs are categorized as male and female. I'm sorry you don't accept that, but that's science.
I think I know what you're talking about. I actually looked up that exact that exact chart that you pulled up. That chart was created by a transphobic Twitter user. It's not science.
Can transphobic Twitter users be correct?
Can a transphobic Twitter user be correct? I suppose so. Even a broken clock is right twice a day.
There you go.
But I just want to be clear, right, that you called it science, but it wasn't a scientist that made that chart. You flash it around as if it is science, but it's not supported by virtually any endocrinologist. It is not supported by any endocrinologist, that chart that you show. It is not supported by any endocrinologist. That chart that you show, where you specifically delineate the male and female based off of XY, XX, XO, XXY chromosomes, and it says this one's male, this one's female, that is not listed in any endocrinological book. That is literally sourced by a transphobic Twitter user. It is not in any scientific textbook.
I will be sure to check it. Actually, today I submitted it to a biologist to verify it, because I was worried.
Yeah, you can actually just look it up and find out that it is, in fact, from just a transphobic Twitter user.
Yeah, I actually submitted that to a biologist today to verify it, a PhD.
Yeah, and they said, oh, yeah, that's definitely true.
No, I don't know that I've gotten a response yet.
Yeah, well, they'll tell you it's not true.
Because, yes, I wouldn't want to... I do know that there are biologists that support just the fact that all DSDs can be divided between male and female. That chart might be accurate, but I do know, might be inaccurate, but I do know that biologists do support that they can be divided. So here's the thing. You keep bringing up DSDs. This is not a debate about DSDs. This is a debate about trans persons. So stop bringing up DSDs. A lot of people with DSDs, you guys like, keep moving for me. Okay, I can watch your water. A lot of people with DSDs do not appreciate you bringing this into the conversation. So please stop.
Logan, could you explain to the audience what DSDs are?
The difference of sex development. It just basically means.
Is your name Logan?
Sorry, go ahead. You got it, Mr. Scientist.
You are rude. I mean, you are just flat out rude. He addressed me and you're answering for me.
At least I know what a woman is.
Oh, no, you don't.
Well, I mean, you thought that a woman was an 8-year-old, so okay.
No, I misspoke. Okay, buddy.
And then 16-year-old is a woman too.
Yes, biologically.
Biologically, yes.
Yeah. Do you disagree?
They are ripe and fertile for you. Understood.
Yeah, you moron. They are. I mean, you are just an idiot. You really are. I can't have an honest conversation with you because you just scoff at everything and interrupt everything I say. So yes, find by variations that affect.
I just said they're right.
Shut the fuck up. I'm talking.
He said, you're right, they are.
Dude, shut the fuck up. Oh my gosh. Are you winning the debate? Is that a debate point? No. So DSDs are distinguished between male and female. They can all be distinguished. Some of them are very hard to do, and you really need to be a professional to do it. But it's people like First Amender that like to bring them into trans arguments when they have nothing to do with a trans, because to one sex or the other. How much time we have left in this open conversation?
We've got 24 minutes. And I have a question I want to ask you. When are you going? Do you need to leave soon, or?
What time is it?
Well, I don't know what time zone you're in. I'm in Eastern, so it's 6:57 p.m. Eastern time.
I've got like 45 minutes.
Oh, so you're in Eastern time too? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, either way, I would have 45 minutes. All right, so let's leave DSDs out of this and talk about trans people.
Well, I just think it's important to bring up because the reason why we have separation of women and men in sports is typically because men perform better. And the reason why people are often flabbergasted is, man, look at all these women crushing in women's sports. In fact, that was your very argument when you brought up a bunch of trans women, in fact, winning in their sports division. So obviously the performance advantage is the reason why we separate them. But then the question becomes, okay, what about women that have excess androgen exposure, which causes them to have more muscle, greater bone density? They have the same exact advantage that trans women have. So what do you do with them?
Sexually, what are those women that have high androgen, whatever? What are they?
Huh?
Sexually, what are those persons you're talking about?
By sex, they'd be female.
Okay, there you go.
Or they could sometimes have male characteristics like XY, but then have a vagina, boobs, and everything.
Yeah, I forget it. Vagina determines what a woman, what a female is, correct?
Typically, yeah, it's the primary sex characteristic.
Typically.
Yeah, by sex, it is the primary sex characteristic, yes.
But there are men with vaginas, correct?
So there are, by sex could have XY chromosomes, but still have a vagina, yeah.
So why are you disputing when I say men have vaginas?
Because you're the one that seems to have a problem with the distinction of gender and sex. I don't have that problem.
Is gender an identity?
Yes. Yeah.
Do we play sports with our identities?
Yes.
We do. How does that work?
Well, typically we look at them and they say, well, they look like a female, they look like a male, and then we let them compete. It's not like we're doing cotton swabs on like kids K through 12. We're not. We just let them compete because they look like a boy or a girl.
Okay. Do you think, how accurate do you think that determination is?
About 99%, I'd say.
There you go.
But what about the 1%? You know, the trans women.
Those are not, those are still male and
trans
female.
Girls, trans boys.
Are they not still boys and girls?
Well, are by sex or gender?
Sex.
Only sex.
I do not. Anytime I ask that question, you do not need to ask.
But isn't it the way that you determine someone's sex is you just look at them?
99% of the cases, yes. Actually,
and then what about the 1%?
Okay, it's higher than that because most of the DSDs do demonstrate those outward physical.
It doesn't even require DSDs. I'm simply talking about the difference between gender and sex. And when it's convenient, you apply the distinction between gender and sex. But then when I bring up the absurdity of it, you then go back to it's only sex.
No, dude, you've already lost the debate, dude. You've already said that.
I didn't.
You've already said some trans women can't be in sports.
I would say that there needs to be a delineation, but this is not on the basis of like excluding them simply for being trans. I think we need to have a line between, somebody that is just trying to get into the women's division to prove a point versus trying to get into the women's division because they have transitioned to woman. These are different things.
I've already demonstrated that Tim's still have an advantage.
Yeah, and so do women with high androgen exposure.
Are they women?
Yes.
Are they female?
Yes.
There you go.
So they deserve to be. So the performativity, the performance advantage has nothing to do.
They are women. They are females.
So is the reason why you are separating based on performance advantage, or is it because of the arbitrary distinction that they are man or woman based on a cheek swab?
Cheek swab.
Okay. So if I showed you a cheek swab of an absolutely gargantuan trans man, they should be in the women's division.
Are they on testosterone?
Yes.
Then they cannot be per the rules of the sports.
They cannot be in the rules of the sports because they are on testosterone?
Yeah, that's usually what sports test for.
What about if the testosterone is used for a medical purpose?
I don't know. They probably still can't compete, though.
They can't compete despite the fact that it is used for a medical purpose?
I don't know. Do you know?
All right. Well, here's your.
Do
I
you know, or are you
I
just bringing
do-
up a hypothetical
Well,
situation?
I'm just saying, I do know. I do know. I would
Well,
say
then answer it.
that the trans men need to be in the men's division. But
Did you know-
hey, let's take a look at this, right? Here's an example. I have an image here for you. If I could share my screen, you just give me a moment. Sorry. Let me just share screen. Sorry, I apologize. So this belongs in the women's division based on that cheek swab.
No, it does. Yes, but it's not allowed to be in the women's division because of the testosterone.
They're given testosterone for a medical reason. You said you don't know, but I do know.
That is not a medical reason. I'm sorry.
That is a medical reason. Their gender identity is that of a man, and so they are taking testosterone specifically to alleviate their gender dysphoria.
Yeah.
Is being trans a mental disorder or not?
No, it's not.
Okay, is gender dysphoria a mental disorder?
No.
It literally is on the basis of the DSM-5.
No, it's not. Pull that up.
Okay, all right. I will pull that up. Gender.
But while you're doing that, I want to point out. You don't need to talk. Okay.
Hold on. Here we go.
Man.
We're going to prove it to you right now. You ready?
In the WNBA, and you know what she did? She did not take testosterone so she could play.
Okay, so I need you to look at this real quick.
Did you pay attention to that?
And we're going to type in Control F, gender dysphoria.
Do you notice how he doesn't pay any attention?
And you can see right here exists the criteria for gender dysphoria, which is right here. You can go over the gender. So we do know that gender dysphoria is in the latest DSM-5 criteria. So we know for a fact that it is a part of it is in fact a mental disorder.
Highlight it.
So
highlight it where it says it's a mental disorder.
What? It's the DSM-5. Do you know what the DSM-5 is? It's the DSM-5. Do you know what the DSM-5 is?
Yes, I do, but I want you to highlight where it specifically says that is a mental disorder.
It wouldn't be listed here if it wasn't a mental disorder.
So why aren't we treating a mental disorder with mental solutions as opposed to physical solutions?
A hormone replacement therapy literally is a physical solution.
Okay, but you are not proving that just because it's in the DSM-5, it's a mental disorder.
I am. That's literally what the DSM-5 is. It's the diagnostic and criteria manual for mental disorders. Gender dysphoria is a listed criteria definition of mental disorders. I cannot believe that we have to have this discussion when it's as plain as day. Why don't you use your chat GPT and ask, is gender dysphoria a mental disorder?
It's a discomfort.
It is a disorder. Anyway, so now that we know that this man is taking testosterone specifically to alleviate their gender dysphoria, should they go into the women's division?
Oh, look, here you are. Let me share my screen, because First Amender has agreed that he's going to accept this result. Right? You got it?
Gender dysphoria is listed in the diagnostic terms of the APA DSM-5 to describe the significant psychological distress caused by a mismatch between a person's gender. Yeah.
Do you see that right there?
I'm aware that I didn't say transgender. Holy crap. Gender dysphoria is not referring to transgender.
Well, I didn't type that. However, gender dysphoria is listed as a diagnostic term. Okay, that is a diagnostic term. That does not mean...
It is a mental disorder.
Oh, there it is right there. Keep going. Identity versus distress. Being transgender or gender diverse is a natural variation.
It's simply telling you that being trans is not a disorder. That is correct. A lot of people tend to say that being trans is in fact a mental disorder. It's not. They're referring to the negative feeling that is associated with being the opposite gender of your sex. That is what gender dysphoria is. It is the negative feelings associated. Not all trans people have that.
So why are we addressing that through therapy?
That is addressed through therapy. It is also addressed with HRT.
That's wrong.
Yes, it is correct.
No, it's wrong.
The fact that it's in the diagnostic criteria manual literally means it is addressed through therapy. That is what a psychologist picks up to then read and then determine the diagnostic criteria for gender dysphoria.
It doesn't matter. You're bloviating fool.
I'm not bloviating. I'm telling you the facts.
Bloviating. I could literally state that in one sentence, what you said in 5. Okay. Going back to that
16-year-olds are women, right?
Yeah, they are biologically. Oh my gosh.
Ready for he's ready for them.
No, you're an idiot. Fuck you. Don't ever accuse me of that, you piece of
I'm not accusing you of anything. You said it.
Use our kind words.
I said biologically, and you assumed to me that I want to go hump some of them. No.
So
biologically,
that to my
face, you little coward.
Biologically, what is this? You want to fight me now?
No, I'm just saying, don't say anything like that if you won't say it to my face.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
well,
where I come from,
this trans man.
Where I come from, you don't accuse men of wanting.
You were the one coming at me saying that I didn't know what a woman was, but to me, it sounds like that your definition of woman is a lot wider than what most people would say is appropriate.
I don't care about most people.
I can see that.
Yeah, because that would be the argument from ad populum, right?
I agree.
Okay,
I
then
agree.
don't use it. Then don't use it.
Oh, well, it's great that's not my argument.
Why do you bring
my
it up?
My argument
then?
is that we can't
up?
even get to it because you are so transphobic that you are blind to the argument. The point that I'm trying to make is that there do exist cisgendered women that have excess androgen exposure. They have a greater ability to perform than most cisgendered women. I would not be against not including them if we're concerned about the reason why we don't allow trans women in women's sports is because they're going to quote unquote dominate women's sports. In that theory, you could then say that women, biological women with excess androgens ought also be banned because they have the same advantage. But you're okay with them under the arbitrary distinction that they are biological women, so therefore that's enough.
Oh, wait a minute.
So it has nothing to do with the performance.
Wait
it's a circular logic.
Shut up. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Did I decide what women are?
Yeah, you kind of are.
Did you?
No.
Oh, you didn't?
No. I think that the way that we determine, I think that is a societal thing that is determinant upon society.
What if a woman doesn't have a gender identity?
Great, good on them.
So what are they?
They would be agender.
They would be no, they're not agender either.
I said agender, as in without gender.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
So they are no, they don't admit to being, they don't identify as agender either.
Okay.
So what are they?
Whatever they want.
So you can't answer that.
I just did. That was a direct answer.
No, you didn't.
I answered. No, I did answer it.
Not even. They don't identify as any type of gender, not even agender.
It appears that your internet is not identifying with its ISP.
Is that part of the debate?
Let me get some more water.
Does that have anything to do with the debate?
It doesn't.
Okay, thank you. Why do you keep going on about it? You could have saved a lot of time. You wouldn't go on about my internet issues.
Funny.
Okay. So anyway, that's actually kind of my closing. First Amendment can't define what a woman is because there are women that are women, there are women that are not women. It's a gender category.
I did define it. I did accurately
but it's
define it.
It's a poor arbitrary distinction.
It's not a poor arbitrary distinction. It's just understanding the difference between gender and sex and then applying the definition on the basis of gender and sex.
I've let you talk. I've let you, I guarantee if we went over the time, you would have talked more than I have. Okay. I know you need,
Respectful.
I have a lot to say about this.
I know you need that self-validation. Okay. Well, I mean,
I just have a lot to say about it. That's all.
He called me transphobic. Is that respectful?
No.
He accused me of wanting to have sex with 16-year-olds.
That is not what I said.
Oh, really?
I never
What'd you
argued
say?
that.
You said,
I said you just physically did call a woman who is 16 ripe for mating.
Let's focus back on the debate. Let's try to be respectful and focus on the debate. So
right.
let's recalibrate.
All right. So,
I know this is a heated, hot topic. So
the thing is, I try to talk and he keeps interrupting me. I know sometimes I interrupt him, but I immediately shut up when I realize he's still talking.
I think we have a little bit of internet stuff too. So let's give the best faith to each other here.
Okay. So, you said I decided what a woman was, but I did not. So let me finish. Okay. I did not decide that people have XY and XX. I did not decide that. I did not choose for that person to have chromosomes. And I did not decide that they produce large and small gametes 99.9% of the time, depending on what their chromosomes are. That is a fact. It's an observed fact. It's a biological fact. So when you say I decided what a woman was, no, I didn't. It's right there. It's right there first.
Well, but you actually did. You did, because like I make the distinction based on gender and sex, and that actually happens to be how we've historically done it. We've typically did not have an understanding of genetics. So we couldn't just do a cotton swab. We didn't just discover man and woman on the basis of XY or XX chromosomes, because for a majority of human existence, we didn't have, we didn't use chromosomes to identify that. And so the question becomes, well, what did they do it? Well, what they did is that they looked at them and they said, well, you have a vagina, you have a penis. There you go. It's that simple. Penis for man, a vagina for woman. It's that simple. But we find out that there's actually lots of genetic distinctions, which could radically vary what somebody is going to look like. There are people that are largely completely have no knowledge that they are XY or XX chromosomes. Even people who typically you would expect them to be XY or XX. Have you ever actually done blood work done to check if you're XY or XX chromosomes?
I produce small gametes.
Let me try again. Have you ever?
Okay, that is irrelevant to the debate. It does not matter what I am. You have already conceded that 99% of the people are XXXY, and it corresponds to what their parts are.
He broke up.
So, do you mind if I ask a question for the conversation to see kind of
sure
connecting to this?
Yes, I do.
So, what do you think about something like the XXY? How would you both kind of engage that particular situation? Some people might use several technical terms like hermaphrodite or intersex, depending on
That's
how you view it.
Klinefelter syndrome, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean it's a genetic condition where, I mean, again, it's a huge wrench in his argument, whereas I'm able to understand that somebody who has Klinefelter syndrome will either look more male or more female, and they will say, hey, I feel like I'm more of a male, or I feel like I'm more of a female, and then they exhibit their life in that way. They will often take hormone replacement therapy to exhibit what their internal gender feels like. But this is an understanding that gender's complex. There's a lot to this. It's not as simple as, well, you have a vagina, therefore female, and if you have a penis, therefore male. There's lots and lots of different intersex conditions that result in differences, and so it does come down to a gender distinction. If I took his argument to the nth degree, this trans man, because we would do a cotton swab, find out that they have a vagina, we do a cotton swab, they have XX chromosomes, therefore that trans man should be able to compete in the women's division because they are in fact using testosterone, not because of a cosmetic reason, but they're using it because they have genuine gender dysphoria and it needs to be treated with hormone replacement therapy. He doesn't have a problem. By the way, there are athletes that do take testosterone and they are allowed to compete.
But it's at a certain level, right?
Sure. Yeah. Same thing with trans men. It is put to a certain level.
Are they females?
Yeah, they would be female. That's true.
Okay. Well, I mean, if they hold the trans man to the same standards that they hold cis women, then I don't have an issue.
Okay, so then this man, and I'm just going to share my screen one more time. This man should be in the women's division, according to you.
If he fulfills the requirements, or the minimum, or the maximum requirements, I guess they might call them, then yeah. And plus,
well, at least you're consistent.
Yeah. So therefore, I win the debate.
I mean, I derived your argument into absurdity. I mean, look at this man. Look at him. Does that really look like
First Amender to
you?
First
Take
Amender.
a look at that one.
First Amender. You just bloviated for a while. I mean, you sit here and try to bring up, oh, what about this? What about this? What about this? Okay, but debates need to be held among generalities. Okay, you're trying to go into specifics that we don't have. You have already granted that some trans women, and I mean, how many would be excluded? How many would be excluded under your criteria?
So actually, less than how many would be excluded from yours. Because if you actually find out,
my gosh, would you let me talk?
You are breaking up a lot. There's no reason for you to get mad at me. When I just see you just stop talking, I'm assuming you're done talking.
I didn't see any breakup. Sorry.
Okay, well, you did break up a lot, and you've been breaking up this entire. So just presume if I'm, it's fine.
I've lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
I mean, if you want to exclude trans women from women's sports, you have the problem of trans men being in the women's division, but you're okay with that. I mean, I guess I mean, to me, that argument then becomes so absurd that it doesn't even matter anymore. And it's like, it's no longer a serious discussion.
I've covered that. You just don't accept the answer.
I accept your answer. It's just, it's an absurd answer.
I mean, you've already agreed that. Oh, no, you didn't. You actually think we play.
We are done. Woo! Thank you, debaters. You did a great job. We filled the entire hour with that. And now we're going to go to our closings. And as we agreed, we're going to start with, we'll start with here.
Me.
Yes, I'm going to put a banner.
Rules, it's supposed to be me.
Oh, because I had asked in the beginning about which person would close. I had said that in the beginning, but do you want to go first? Is that what you would prefer?
No, if we agreed to otherwise, that's fine.
Okay, because I'm sure Amender would be fine with that either way, right?
Yeah, either whatever works.
I mean, that's just usually debate format is whoever goes first goes last.
Yep, go ahead, Logan.
Do you want to go? That's fine. You can go if you're ready.
How long do I have? 5 minutes again?
You have 5 minutes.
Alrighty. It was expected that this debate would go into various areas such as DSDs, and I probably shouldn't have allowed First to go so long on about them. First Amendment already granted the prompt. He already granted me the prompt. He has agreed that not all trans identified men belong in female sports. So, and his distinction, I'm trying to figure out how he thinks we play sports with identity, because I could identify as a squid, but that's not going to help me in swimming. I could identify as a bull. That's not going to help me in football. So it's really amazing that he presented no evidence for that of how we play sports with identity. I think it's fairly obvious that we play them with our physical bodies and our physical means. He wants to go on about, the biological distinction of male and female and what makes is a girl a woman, is a 16-year-old a woman. That was a pointless question. It really was. I'm sorry, biologically speaking, a creature, a female, is a adult member of that species when they're able to produce small gametes. We have made that adjustment to our culture. And he is conflating those two things that we've conflated. We have a legal adult and there is a biological adult. And I think you go to any farmer, and as soon as his cow is ready to mate, they mate. And I'm sorry, First Amendment doesn't like that. I will roll this conversation back later, and I do believe he accused me of wanting 16-year-old girl. That. Let's see. As I said, he just mentioned a lot of stuff that had nothing to do with the debate. Every time I said, is that a female? He kept saying yes, and I didn't the same right as other females to enter that sport. I don't know what he thinks a woman is, because he says, so he says Castor Semenya is a woman, but his only criteria is that Castor Semenya, apparently, I mean, I think Castor Semenya might have said it, that he has a vagina. But then he also says a male is a person with XY. So he says that male is an XY, and it's fully confirmed that Castor Semenya has XY. So First Amendment does not even have a criteria for what is male and what is female of the human species. He goes with identity, but then he says, well, even if they identify, they may not be able to do it because of things. And so to him, a trans woman is not a trans woman because some are allowed and some aren't. And I really don't know. I don't think First Amendment really presented much for me to react to. He bloviated a lot. He needs to control that. He needs to allow his, I mean, I guess maybe we'll see it next time if we have another debate and I fix my issues. Maybe he won't interrupt me. We'll see. Sometimes I didn't think I was frozen and he interrupted me. Maybe it's worse on your end. That's about it. For me, ultimately, it's a woman's no. And there are a lot of women that do not want men, however they identify, in their sports. And one woman's no is enough. But First Amender wants to say that he's going to have 100 women in a room and he wants to have relations. 100 women in a room and he wants to have relations with them. But if one refuses, he still gets to have relations with that one woman. That is First Amender's logic. And that's why he loses the.
Cool. Pretty close.
30 seconds, I won't break up.
All right. Give me a second. All right. Let me know when you're ready to start.
I'm ready. My opponent has spent a great deal of time telling us that women's sports need to be protected because of biological differences between males and females. Fine. I agree with the biological differences do matter in athletic competition. That's the reason that we have sex separated sports in the first place. But then when you apply that principle consistently, because when I asked the other side to explain why trans men should not compete in women's sports, I really couldn't get a coherent answer. In fact, my opponent conceded that even a very large, muscular trans man could compete in women's sports. Think about what that means. If the argument is that women's sports must be protected because male typical physical characteristics create an unfair advantage, then why does that principle suddenly disappear when we're talking about someone who is assigned female at birth? You can't have it both ways. You can't tell me that biology is the fundamental reason for a women's category and then refuse to consider the biology when it produces an inconvenient result for your argument. And that's the larger problem that I've seen throughout this debate. We've heard individual examples of trans women winning competitions, but an individual athlete winning an event does not establish that trans women dominate women's sports. That is a much larger empirical claim, and it requires much stronger evidence. We've heard that women deserve to say no. Of course they do, but sports are not governed by every individual athlete's personal approval of their competitors. They're governed by eligibility rules. So the question is, what should those rules actually be? We've talked about Caster Semenya, and again, exposes how complicated biological sex can actually be. If someone tells me that Caster Semenya is simply a man, I want to know what biological criterion they're actually using to make that determination. Are you using chromosomes? Are you using hormones, gonads, genitals, reproductive anatomy? Because human biology doesn't always cooperate with the neat categories that people want to impose onto it. That's ultimately what I think this debate comes down to. I'm not arguing that biological differences don't exist. I'm arguing that if biology is going to be the basis for restricting someone's participation, then you need to define exactly which biological characteristics matter and apply that standard consistently. You cannot simply start with the conclusion that trans women are men, declare that men don't belong in women's sports, and then call that proof of the conclusion. That's circular reasoning. If your standard is actually based on the athletic advantage, then you have to confront every case where sex, gender, hormones, development, and athletic physiology does not line up perfectly. That's what I've been asking throughout this debate. Give me a consistent standards, not anecdotes. Don't give me any outrage, not women don't want them here. I want a standard because if we are going to decide who gets to compete, the answer should be based on evidence, and the rules can actually be applied consistently. If your argument cannot explain where that line is or why that line applies to one athlete but not another, then you haven't actually established your case. You've only asserted the conclusion. And with that, I cede the rest of my time.
All right. Thank you all for this wonderful debate. Now we're getting into the good stuff. We have the questions and answers. So put question in the chat. And if either of you are streaming on your channels and have questions, let me know about that. But
Yep.
it would be good if we could get them here too, because I can see them. But put a question in the chat and to which person you want it to, and yeah, and each of you can, like, if you want to give a rebuttal, if something it speaks to you and whatever the question, feel free to do it, but make it. We'll keep it short because I believe you have 13 minutes, right?
I do want to give first props. He had a much better closing than I did.
Well, thank you. We like that. We like to hear good respect for our colleagues here. And it takes a lot to come up here on the stage, and everyone is seeing you all, so doing a great job. So let's put the questions in the chat, and then we can put them up.
That was actually that was sent, but it's more of a statement than it is a question. So my apologies. I don't have any questions. Yes.
Okay, I can read what they wrote. Um, they said
It's kind of nasty. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay, I'll try to clean it up. Be careful on car block. This may not be the most pleasant thing. Working men said, "You transphobic piece of trash," and hurt the respectability of good faith debates. So that's what working. Sure. It's not really a question, but
it's not even a question. I'm sorry.
I will just say I'm not offended.
Okay, good.
I will say. Did you get that? I need to work on my debate. I need to work on my debate composure.
And that's cool. This is like heated stuff. People have strong opinions here. Just, we're not attacking people. We're just attacking ideas. We want to focus on that. Are there any questions in the chat? I don't see any questions here. I think there was one question for before, but put the question now so I can see it. Because unfortunately it doesn't highlight for me. So you're going to have to put it in the chat right now so I can see it. Okay, I think I see one question here.
Yeah.
But please put question before you write it because it's like it looks like a paragraph. So if you could just put a question before. This says RC MF8GT writes, what's your response to the argument that males have larger frames, lung capacity, speed, and nearly every other advantage in competing against women's sports? Having trans defeats the purpose of, I guess, segmentation. Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's towards you.
And I'm willing to acknowledge that trans women typically have a slight advantage over other women. And so therefore, trans women should be in the men's sports. However, what I find is that there are cisgendered women that have the same advantage. So do we exclude them as well? Well, in some cases, that actually is the case. There's some Olympic divisions where they say, okay, if you have a DSD or, you have excess androgen exposure that you don't deserve. But I operate on the basis of inclusion, not exclusion. And I think it's like, why do we separate on, you must have this exact androgen exposure. But if your hands are bigger, your legs are longer, you're born in East Africa where there's a higher propensity to being able to run faster. There's a lot of factors that are genetic differences that are vindicative based on sorts of myriad of factors. Why this specifically? And so if women with a higher androgen exposure do deserve to be in the women's division, therefore trans women as well. And if you say trans women don't get included, but those with higher androgens do, now you got a problem with trans men. That's a whole other giant can of worms. So I can only see one way to consistently argue this, which is trans women belong in the women's sports.
All right, thank you, First Amender. Do you have a comment too?
Yeah, first, I really should have caught it, but the debate wasn't about trans men; it was about trans women. So for First to go there, I shouldn't have allowed him to do that, and by doing so, he expressed a disingenuousness in his approach. I would also want to say that he didn't address any of the facts I brought up. I brought up two papers that said trans identified men still have an advantage over females.
I'm sorry, Logan. Do you have a response to what that question was, or about the lungs, or?
Please just let Brenda step up, and I'll debate him sometime.
Oh, there's going to be an after show, so maybe you would like to talk to her there.
Brenda, I'd love to have you on my Discord. Or Discord is going to be open. Discord.gg/FIRST Amender. I love talking to Brenda.
Well, so we have a statement.
7 minutes.
So the statement says, this is my fairy tale life 3 statement. Bio women on testosterone are restricted from competing against other women unless they medically suppress their testosterone. I don't know if either of you have feelings on that.
My thoughts are that I would not have this issue because in my position, they are men. And so they would go into the men's division. It's that simple. So you wouldn't need to have these additional distinctions. It's actually much more elegant, my solution.
Cool.
Sorry, can you put the question back up?
Oh, it was a statement.
Oh, well, what was the statement? By women on testosterone are restricted. So yeah, First Amender is just talking about identity. That's all he wants to go with. But there are what he might call cis women and cis men that do not identify. They just recognize the facts. I am one of them. I just recognize the fact that I'm a male of the human species. So it's not identity for me. It's just a fact.
Okay. Well, thank you. Now we're going to the next. Jesse Jones, 5078 asks, would it be unfair to have a separate division for trans?
Yeah, I mean, the answer is it would be fair if they had a separate division. Problem is, there's just not enough trans people, like generally speaking. Like if you had to pair up, the estimate for if you took K through 12, all professional sports, all elite sports, Olympians, and you put all the trans women and trans men in in a single spot, it's like 2,000. That's it. That's like the whole number, at least in the United States. I don't know what it is across the globe, but that's not enough. I mean, you need a certain amount of people for a team, and it just wouldn't be enough.
No, I don't think it would be unfair.
Okay. I got another comment.
They can go play with their identity while the rest of us play with our physical bodies.
All right. So we have our next question from at Randy Bales. Question: what conditions would convince the debaters to change their stance? Sort of like a steel man. What would you need?
I would need a greater explanatory model. The distinction between gender and sex, I find it's much more complicated than the initial binary that I grew up with. And I read lots and lots of books on the topic and then came to this conclusion after that. And I guess what I would need is, hey, what is able to explain all of these phenomenon to a greater degree with, I would say, greater simplicity. That would probably be what I would request.
Okay. What about you, Logan?
100% of women in sports would be okay with it.
Okay. All right, we'll move to the next one. I'll put the ones, please put question or statement, but I see someone tagged me. I'll put that too. But Michael Phelps had an advantage over every other man that has ever swam, and his records won't be beaten anytime soon. Logan, how would you address this?
This is often brought up, but note I never brought up fairness. I guess he might be approaching it from the position of advantage. So I actually looked this up, and not a single man of which I'm aware had an issue with Michael Phelps competing. So for me, it's fine. They actually said that Michael Phelps pushed them to do better. And at least according to the search, I didn't go deep into it, they said that men actually improved in swimming because of Michael Phelps. But again, Michael Phelps, as far as I know, is 100% male.
Got it. Okay. We're going to move to our next point. We have a few. My Fairy Tale Life 3 has a clarification. Let him know I wasn't referring to a trans man. I am talking about actually women who identify as women with medical conditions who need to be on testosterone.
Who need to be on testosterone. I mean, when it comes to, I'm not aware of a situation where if a woman has too little testosterone that they need to be on testosterone. Maybe there is some medical condition. I'm not aware of it though. Considering women have typically lower testosterone. So if they had effectively even lower than that, I don't think you would even notice, or if there's like a health problem there, but I could be wrong. I'm not an endocrinologist.
Okay. We're going to go to this next question. I don't think I can put it up on screen, so I'll just read it. And then we have one more after this that I see. Here we go. This is Sonic CD or Ouija 786. For first amender, okay. Can you bust a rhyme for us, FUR? Um, Other dude, he's talking about you, Logan.
Oh, oh, oh.
I never learned your name. Is it okay with you if I call you Kylie, since that's who you had in your persona? Who had on your persona when you went off? I'll try to explain what that means.
Yeah,
So,
where?
so he's talking about your PFP. Your picture was a character, and he was making kind of a like a furry reference. So that's what he was.
Oh, oh, oh. That's
He's saying
from
that this character that you had on your screen was Kylie. I don't know. I think that's what he
that.
means,
That's
but
no, that's from the Fantastic Mr. Fox or something. It's an animated movie by is it by Wes Anderson?
it's like
I love
claymation.
Fantastic Mr. Fox. It's a great
Yeah,
movie.
It's
great movie.
claymation, right?
Fabulous
Like
movie.
stop motion claymation.
And
I saw it in the theater actually.
yeah, I wish I would have. It was before I got into Wes Anderson. If that's the director.
Did you like The Matrix? Just out of curiosity, Logan.
No,
You did not like The Matrix. Boo.
No.
Never mind.
no.
Okay. I don't know if you want to bust a rhyme or something. You're free to do whatever you want. If not, I'll just put the next question.
Boom. I won this debate, and Logan can't do anything but masturbate. Yo.
Well,
Sorry.
I don't know. Silly. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll just go to the next question. I know you have to leave, so there's a few that popped up. Brenda asked, have Logan address this question, and this one only. The GOP uses trans issues to divide and distract the electorate from more important issues. Is he aware his bigotry is being used for political ends?
I don't think anyone uses my arguments for political gain. It's not bigotry, so the question is dishonest. I base my position on facts, and I base my position on women's no. I am not Republican. I am not, and therefore I'm not even MAGA. Although he used the reference GOP, Grand Old Party. I know lots of Republicans that, yeah, I do slip up every now and then, First Amender, because the female names throw me off. That's part of their strategy, is to get female names to throw people off. So I'm not MAGA. I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat. I lean more liberal, I think, but I like to call myself a nuanced voter.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have our next question.
Wait a minute, I got one thing.
Yes.
If you call me a bigot, Brenda, you're a misogynist.
Okay.
I gotta go. I'm sorry. I promised some others that I would have a convo with them where language will not be policed. I didn't know if it was going to be on here.
Well, is it okay if I allow the last two questions to go with First Amender, because we just have two more questions? So.
Yeah, sure.
All right, here we go.
Let's go ahead.
At RCMF8GT, do you believe there is any potential danger or harm in allowing trans that have gone through male puberty to compete with females?
Yes, there's injuries in sports all the time. This is no different. I don't see a problem with that at all.
Okay,
that's a dishonest answer, because the question is, just because they have gone through male puberty, is there increased harm? I demonstrated that. There was a volleyball player.
He said, do you believe that there is any potential danger? And so, yeah, there is any potential danger in even going outside, especially sports.
I think you understand the intent. Do you not understand the intent of the question?
I'm reading what it says and then interpreting what it says.
Okay. I'll let it stand then.
All right, here's our last question. No more questions after this. And here we go. This is from @Ronta. Question, Amender. So your position is that trans women that are similar, comparable to cis women should compete with them, and trans women that are more similar, comparable to men should compete with T?
I would assume that that they're saying that they should compete with the men. I would probably
that's
say.
what I would say. Should compete with men.
Yeah, I think that right now the best, and I know that this excludes some trans people because some trans people, they just have an internal feeling of, but they have not done any transition. I think if you want people to respect you externally as woman or man or as your perceived gender, you have to exhibit that. It's not reasonable to presume that society will accept you when you have made no work to transition. That's my position on it. But there has to be a delineating point, and I've picked mine.